What is a Faraday cage? Faraday cage, or Faraday's shield, is an enclosure used to block electromagnetic fields. A Faraday shield may be formed by a continuous covering of conductive material, or in the case of a Faraday cage, a mesh of such material. Faraday cages are named after the English scientist Michael Faraday, who was a creationist, by the way, and a Christian, who invented these cages in 1836. And here's a photo of a Tesla coil generating lightning-intense electromagnetic energy. That's lightning. And those two kids, is that father in with his kids? I feel guilty. I feel guilty. Okay, if she would come back and take that trip with me again, I'll get in the cage with or without her. I miss her. These kids grow up. Safety inside a Faraday cage. A Faraday cage operates because an external electrical field, and by the way, they use them, major labs, when computers are extremely sensitive, you want no contamination, you want no electromagnetic energy whatsoever. It has to be controlled, no static buildup. Then they shield the entire room as a Faraday cage, right, Mike? You probably have some of those in classified. Okay. Now, a Faraday cage operates because an external electrical field causes the electric charges within the cage's conducting material to be distributed so that they cancel the field's effect in the interior. They're also used to protect people and equipment against actual electric currents such as lightning strikes and electrostatic discharges, since the enclosing cage conducts current around the outside of the enclosed space and none passes through the interior. How would it work in a marine vessel? The voltages, this is from technical literature, involved in lightning are so high that even materials that would normally be considered non-conductive can become conductors. A lightning protection system is used to create what is known as a Faraday cage. The principle of a Faraday cage is to provide a surrounding, well-grounded metal for electrically conductive structure in which all of the parts are bonded together. Remember, gopher, bonding together, and carry the same electrical potential. Such a cage attracts and carries any lightning strike to ground, much like lightning rods on buildings. In other words, you need to provide an unobstructed way for the lightning to dissipate its energy to ground. That's the water surrounding you. It acts as a ground. Mike, I'm sure when a plane is struck by lightning, there are enough particles in the air to act as a fair ground. I wonder what if one of our spacecraft were struck by lightning where there is no grounding potential. What's your gut instantaneous reaction to that?
Probably lightning is so strong it ionizes anything around it, and so it causes a conductive path through the medium.
Okay.
So it's not unheard of for lightning to go up into orbit. It doesn't just come down to the Earth. It can jump up. We've seen strange things from orbit.
In fact, Psalm 77 describes during the flood, lightnings lightened the entire world during the flood, and those arrows of lightning went out into space. Exactly what you said. Psalm 77, 16 through 18 describes events during the global flood. The waters saw thee, O God. The waters saw thee, they were afraid. The depths also were troubled. The clouds poured out water, the skies sent out a sound. Thine arrows went abroad. The voice of thy thunder was in the heaven. The lightnings lightened the world. The earth trembled and shook. In the above described conditions during the flood, the only safe place on the watery earth was in the ark. When you consider what Psalm 77 states, that the earth shook and trembled, lightning lightened the entire world, some of the arrows went abroad out into space. The ark had to be a Faraday cage. This is the painting. Notice around the ark, the waters are swirling. Psalm 77 describes them as being troubled. By the way, the Hebrew word, "O God, the waters saw thee, embraced thee, they were afraid." The word afraid, I checked in the Hebrew and checked it with that scholar who was here last week. That word afraid means twisted. Twisted. The waters were twisted. So here we have Steve Miller completed this painting yesterday. We've been working on it for weeks. I envision it, he does it. That's a good combination. But I get it from the words. So here the waters are less troubled, but around the ark they're swirling. Notice in the background the bent, swirling, tornadic effect. The lightning strike and the ionized discharge out the other end. Now, that is a low resolution. There's Steve Miller, the artist. The lightning is striking the Faraday cage. The waters are swirling closer. How did they know the waters were twisted, afraid, twisted, swirling?
I looked out the window.
Yes. Somebody saw this happening. And so either that or God revealed new information we didn't have otherwise, but I think the more probable thing is somebody saw that from out the window. These waters are swirling. We're in trouble. Anybody left? Yeah, everybody's fine. Wow. Notice the discharge, the ionized discharge out the other end. The twisting of the waters. This is an actual simulation of the Dublin tornado that occurred in 2015, April 29th. Dublin tornado.